Gregor held Sonny's life in his hands. The trio stood at a crossroads where one of them must be sacrificed, and Fraser was all too happy to offer Sonny up as the option. If Gregor sides with the older slave, it would be 2-on-1. Unarmed and unskilled, Sonny didn't stand a chance. He felt his heart beating as he waited for Gregor to pull the trigger. He knew what was coming, and the suspense was only making it worse. Gregor stared down at the ground, avoiding Sonny's gaze. His hand was resting on the sword handle. As always, Sonny had no idea about what was going on behind the soldier's shimmering eyes. The uncertainty was making him nervous. His muscles were coiled, and he felt like a snake ready to spring when given the signal. Finally, after some time had passed, the soldier spoke. "I have only one question." Both Sonny and Gregor were quick to answer.
"Yes?"
"Yes." Gregor's grip on the handle tightened. "You said that one of us must be sacrificed to save the other two. Why him? From what I see, you are far closer to the grave." Sonny thought,
"Great question. I was just about to ask myself."
A wave of relief broke in Sonny's chest. He let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. He wasn't drawing dead. There was actually a chance the soldier may side with him. Sonny turned to the older slave, trying very hard to suppress a mocking grin. But, to his dismay, Fraser had an answer ready. "Before the first attack, he was already bleeding because of your commanding officer's whip. During the attack, he was drenched in the blood of a fellow slave. His cloak, too, was soaked in it when the previous owner died. The boy already reeks of blood. Keeping him alive will put us in danger. That's why he is the best choice." The grin died before reaching Sonny's face.
This had an answer for everything. Curse him and his big brain.
Fraser's reasoning was appallingly solid. Gregor listened, his expression growing darker with each word. Finally, he looked at Sonny, a dangerous light shining in his eyes. His logic is sound. Sonny felt the blood in his veins freeze. Cold sweat was running down his spine. He tensed, ready to act. But at that moment, Gregor smiled and shot a glance over at Fraser. Gregor unsheathed his sword. "However, you failed to account for one thing." Fraser raised an eyebrow, trying to hide his own nervousness. "What might that be?" The young soldier turned to face him, the smile disappearing from his face. Now he was radiating thick, practically palpable killing intent. "It's that I know who you are, Your Grace. I also know what you've done, and how you ended up a slave. Just one of the revolting crimes you've committed would be enough to make me want to kill you. So, if there is someone among us who deserves to be sacrificed, it's you." Uncharacteristically frazzled, fumbling and grasping at words in a desperate attempt to save his gambit. But the smell of blood." Gregor smirked. "Don't worry about it. I'll make you bleed enough to overpower whatever residual scent the boy carries." It all happened so fast that Sonny barely had time to react. Gregor lunged forward with a speed that seemed almost inhuman. A moment later, Fraser was shrieking on the ground, his leg broken with one strike from the flat side of the young soldier's sword. Not giving him an opportunity to recover, Gregor stomped on his other leg, and a sickening sound of shattering bones could be clearly heard. The shriek turned into a sobbing howl. Just like that, Fraser was done for. The brutality of Gregor's actions was in such stark contrast with his usually graceful demeanor that Sonny felt paralyzed in shock. He was certainly grateful to see his life spared, but the whole ordeal scared him. He now knew that level of barbarism was lurking in the noble soldier, and even more shocking, it could be summoned up on a moment's notice. Gregor didn't seem enraged or alarmed. In fact, the soldier gave Sonny a calm look and kept his tone soft and placid. "Wait for me here." Then he grabbed the older slave and dragged him down the path. Fraser, mortally wounded but clinging to his last shreds of life, writhed in pain. He screamed and cried as Gregor pulled him away. Eventually, the two disappeared behind a rock outcropping. After a few minutes, terrible screams could be heard echoing through the wind. Sonny was left alone, trembling.
Shit. This is too much.
He still couldn't believe how suddenly Fraser's demise had come, and how ruthless it was. Some time later, Gregor was back, acting as though nothing had happened. But it was exactly that normalcy that unnerved Sonny the most. After sorting through the contents of Scholar's rucksack and throwing most of the firewood out, the young soldier put it over his shoulder and nonchalantly turned to the young slave. "Let's go. We need to hurry." Not knowing what to say, Sonny gave him a nod and headed forward. Now there were only two of them left. It was sort of stupid, but Sonny suddenly felt lonesome. Walking on the stone path was much easier than scaling the mountain wall. He even had time for unnecessary thoughts. A strange feeling of melancholy descended on Sonny. Somehow, he began to feel that the end of this nightmare, whatever it might be, was not far off now. They walked in silence for some time before Gregor spoke. "Don't feel guilty about what happened. It's not your fault. The decision was mine, and mine alone." The soldier was a few steps ahead, so Sonny couldn't see his face. Gregor didn't bother to turn back. "Besides, if you knew this man's sins, actually, it's better that you don't. Just trust me when I say that killing him was an act of justice." Sonny bit his lip and thought, "I wonder which one of us feels guilty." These people, always trying to rationalize their actions, always desperate to maintain an illusion of righteousness, even while doing the foulest things. Sonny hated the hypocrisy. Not getting any answer, Gregor chuckled. "You don't like to talk, do you? Well, fair enough. Silence is gold." They didn't speak again after that, each preoccupied with their own thoughts. The sun was setting, painting the world into a million shades of crimson. This high up, the air was clean and crisp, pierced by streams of scarlet light. Below them, a sea of maroon clouds was slowly rolling past the mountain. The stars and the moon had begun to reveal themselves in the vermilion sky. It was quite beautiful. However, Sonny could only think about how cold it was going to be once the sun fully disappeared. Before that happened, Gregor had found them a shelter. Not far from the path, hidden behind some tall rocks, was a narrow crevice that extended into the slope of the mountain. Happy to be safe from the piercing wind, they explored the crevice and ended up in a small, well-concealed cave. Sonny made a move to unbundle some firewood, but Gregor stopped him with a shake of his head. "Today we will camp without making fire. The beast is too close." Camping without the warm flames to keep them company was not going to be pleasant, but at least they weren't going to freeze to death inside the cave. In any case, the alternative was too frightening. Sonny sat down and put his back against the cave's wall. Gregor settled opposite of him, looking downcast and thoughtful. He was obviously in a strange mood. If nothing else, it was apparent from the fact that today, for the first time, the young soldier had failed to care for his sword after making camp. Soon, the sun was gone, and their small cave became completely dark. Sunny, of course, could see perfectly well. Hero, on the other hand, was now completely blind. In the darkness, his handsome face looked noble and, for some reason, sorrowful. Sunny studied it, not willing to fall asleep. After a while, Gregor suddenly spoke in a quiet voice. "You know, it's strange. Usually I can feel someone's presence, even in absolute darkness. But with you, there's nothing. It's like you are just one of the shadows." With only silence to answer him, he smiled. "Are you asleep?" The question echoed in the darkness. Sunny, who had never spoken with Gregor unless there was an urgent need to, and even then only using a few words at best, felt like there was a strange intimacy between them now. That's why he decided to talk. Maybe the darkness gave him courage. He felt his heart beating loudly in his chest. After all he'd been through, it seemed in some ways this was the most nervous he'd been. But he didn't know why. The man lying in front of him was an enigma. He seemed like he could be sweet and gentle, and yet he was a slaver. He murdered Fraser in the blink of an eye. Now they were alone, and Sunny realized how few options he had. If he fell asleep, he'd be completely vulnerable, at Gregor's mercy. He had to know if he could trust him.
Why do you want to know if I'm sleeping? Are you waiting for me to fall asleep before you kill me? Or will you do it in the morning?
Hey amazing viewers, it's Sunny here. Thanks for sticking with us. By the time of the release of this video, only 9% of our viewers have joined the party by subscribing, and 91% of you might miss out on our next mind-blowing video. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and join the exclusive club.